Chapter 16. The Threat. Kay and Elo, among plenty of public figures and senior executives, with all their goodwill and sincere desire to protect the secrecy of the Proximal endeavour, did their best to control the information flow and obfuscate the truth. Some people adopted the official narrative, but the majority, however, did not accept what the media offered them. They believed the administration was withholding something significant, as it always did, or so they thought. Centaurians, on the other hand, were no less bothered about the matter that posed a threat to their security and coexistence with the Proximals. The authorities did not buy the space station's official statement issued with the report about the shipwreck incident. Though administered by their scientists, some officials, including G himself and quite a few government agents, called for an intelligible and comprehensive investigation. They wanted a mandate to find a fundamental cause that released the Proximal warship and set it loose. Before the people revolted, voices of demands became louder, or calls got seditious. A decree pledged to assign the matter to a committee of specialists and investigators to find out what happened at the space station. That committee sought vitiation for that report, issuing a second report refuting the first. The probe studied and examined every single device on their old colonial warship. They checked all the other captured ships that remained under the control and tight grip of the clamp hooks holding them. They discussed all the possibilities that could cause a single ship to be set free and not the rest. It was not a surprise that they all eventually came to one conclusion among subsequent distinct hypotheses. Even though they were old and starting to wear out, the hooks were still effectively operational, and never a ship could break free from their grip without a deliberate remote ignition. The Proximal ship purposefully escaped. News spread. Deliberately leaked or not, it would not differ, for it had sparked fury and outrage on most social and official platforms. Centaurians, driven by their rage and fierceness, began to question the motives of the Proximals. Many apprehensions stirred the enraged crowd to address the Proximal authorities, leaving them no chance of prevarication. There was no simple way for the Proximals to beat around the bush but to lie. They claimed they were desperately trying to retrieve their ships back. One of the popular Centaurian platforms discussed the Proximal response, and that their plan failed once they released the first ship. They could not bring it to the desired operating level, practically and appropriately enough to reach its home planet. The Centaurians, who always outsmarted the Proximals, did not buy that alibi. Any apprentice would know better that these almost damaged ships could never make it home, not in such a condition. A famous journalist and reputable author debunked such unsubstantiated claims and went on to expose those lies. And even if the Proximals had easily communicated with their ship, operated it, and remotely controlled its motion, they would have known from the first intercommunication and before they released it that it was not efficiently effective. It would be an absurd and sheer folly to think that any of them would be operational enough to make the journey back to Proxima B. As a result, tightening the grip on the Proximals was their only remaining option to get to the truth. In doing that, the Centaurians have always been masters, so they declared this attempt a massive breach of the peace treaty they both had signed. That was just one step, and they soon deemed it a hostile act and a declaration of war. They alluded that the Proximal government might be in the process of launching an imminent attack on the Centaurians. Should that be the case, declared the Supreme Governor in one of his latest speeches, it would be unprecedented and would entail a deterrent action, leaving us with no other alternative but to launch a counterattack on Proxima B. With such a grave threat from the head of the Centaurian government and fears of facing retaliation eliciting another global war, this time with the Centaurians head-on, the Proximals, empty-handed, succumbed with no more flimsy arguments. In response to the Centaurian accusation, they admitted in their official statement, which confirmed, "We sent an expedition to explore space. Initially, we did not announce it, which prompted the Centaurians to question our intentions. We understand that very well. However, we did so in a desperate attempt to protect the advantage we gained and the progress we achieved against them. But we have and will never want to engage in any confrontation or war with them, nor can we afford or even bear its costs." Though they played it to appear like an appeal for clemency, the Proximals wittily made no mention of X-PECT or anything about the nature of their actual mission. The Centaurians have gone mad. What little patience they had was waning fast. They took it as a humiliation and partial defeat, shaking their confidence that they had always been the most advanced in their techniques. They declared themselves omnipotent military power, but that well-known fact, which all had long acknowledged, became questionable. Their planet's harsh nature lacked most of the resources they sought and never helped them achieve their aspirations. They possessed knowledge and information inherited from the days of old. Along with their never-ending research, they have acquired the studies stolen by the fugitive scientists exiled from Proxima b. Despite all this, they never achieved what the Proximals have lately been able to do. Driven by ego and vanity, the Centaurians announced in all their media that the race to dominate and colonize space had begun. They would never allow the Proximals to conquer them in that field, yet never admitted that the Proximals were the ones to start that race.